Hey, Colfax Christian Church. We wanted to do something special for you guys this time of year with Christmas being this week. And so, what better than a Zoom style meeting as a way to just touch base with you? So, I hope you enjoy it. I have a few questions. I told the staff the questions I'm going to ask them, but they have not practiced their answers. So, we want this to just be genuine. We want this to be real, something that you would enjoy from home. So, I've got a few questions here. I'm actually going to start with Hannah. Actually, Hannah, here's the question I want to ask you. I want to ask you, what was the hardest part of 2020 personally for you?
I think for me personally, the year 2020, the hardest thing was trying to plan a wedding and make it exciting and as normal as possible, but still having like all these crazy regulations. I think that was probably the hardest thing for me because growing up, you want like your traditional wedding and you have it all planned out and how you want it to be. And it was a great day. I loved it. But I think the hardest thing was having to change and adapt to make things flexible for COVID regulations. That was probably the hardest thing for me in 2020.
While being a teacher and
Oh
teaching
yeah,
at school during
yeah, that has had its own trials and tribulations that have come with that. So yeah.
Okay, I want to ask the same question. Trina, I'm going to ask you the same question. What was the hardest part of 2020 for you?
I think not being able to be with all of my family, um, giving individual hugs to strangers, to people. That's been hard with all the regulations and the mask wearing.
So working with your coworkers has not been hard at all. It's just been fantastic.
Oh heavens, no! Been a joy.
All right. Hey, Logan, I'm going to throw you because you were probably preparing for that question. So I'm going to throw you off. I want to ask you, what was the best part of 2020 for you?
Man, I think the best part of 2020 was, it was a hard year. Everybody's like, oh, it's such a hard year, but I got to see God's hand throughout 2020. Even though we had bad times, I still was joyful that we have God, we have a Savior who loves us so much. And just seeing that and seeing people actually go out of their way and do stuff more than you see on a typical day, people really showed Jesus's love through 2020. I think that's been the best part of 2020 for me.
Awesome. I'm going to answer that one as well. When I think about just in relation to church and this being our job, and we're all blessed to be able to, three of us are full-time and one part-time, but all blessed to be able to serve the church and make that part of what we do every day, which is always awesome. But man, before Logan came on, he came on this year as a youth minister and online minister, having to learn all this new stuff to get us through the 7 weeks that we did not have church. That was probably one of the most challenging, but also I thought it was a lot of fun and probably one of my favorite parts of this year. Now, after 7 weeks of doing it, I was ready for to come on to staff, but it definitely was an awesome part and always fun to work with Trina, and she helped me out with a lot more stuff during that time as well. What about you, Hannah? What was the best part of 2020 for you?
2020 had a lot of, I think, blessings for me and my family. I think at the very beginning of the year, when I was still with my parents, my sister was home from school, and we had, I would say, like a solid 4 months just getting to spend with my parents and my sister and my brother before I got married. And it was, I think, really special to my parents, but also really special to me. Because once you move out of the house, things change a lot and family dynamics change. And so that was really special to me to be able to do that. But also, getting blessed with the house that we had and just the gifts that Aaron had and being able to fix and renovate it to make it what we dreamed it to be, I think was really cool too. So there's a lot of things, and getting married, and getting to kind of walk into this position at the church. Worship has always been a huge part of my life, and I'm blessed that God led us here to Colfax to be a part of it, because it's been a huge, huge blessing. I think more to me than maybe it is to the church. So just a lot of really, really cool things for me to look back on 2020 in the midst of everything.
Okay, awesome. I should have said this. Also, we had a son, right? So Ivan, our last born.
Yeah.
My wife,
Can't forget that.
got a kid. That's the best part, So that was definitely the best part. Trina, did I ask this to you? What was the best part for you?
Probably that I'm healthy
Yep.
and still here
Yep.
and just able to still to spread the love of Christ to others that do not know him. Even through the COVID and the mask and everything, you can still be God's shining light. So it's been a good for that for me, because like Logan had said, through 2020, you've seen a lot of caring individuals. You've seen people step up to try to help out on things, and it's just spreading the God's love.
Yeah. Awesome. Hey, I want to stay with you with this next question. Okay, you
Okay.
can be the first one to answer this next question.
Okay.
What are you most excited about in the church with what's going on with our church family? Coming out of this year, moving into a new year, what are you most excited about?
I think the growth, seeing new people come in, new families joining the church. It's awesome to see the different generations that we are getting. I'm all for growth. Excited about being able to disciple more, our vision, be one, make one. It's just exciting to all the new technology that we've got, able to live stream, all of this stuff that we're getting. It's just, we keep on moving forward and reaching more people. You never know what we're gonna do. It's just do what God has planned for us.
Yep. Awesome. Yeah, and I'll speak into that one as well. I feel like the commitment of our eldership has not wavered over
Right.
2020.
Right.
I remember back when all this was starting up and we took 7 weeks off from church, which really wasn't off. We had online, but we weren't able to fellowship and do corporate worship like we were used to doing. And I remember asking the elders, like, do we still continue on with trying to find a youth minister? And there was no doubt. They were like, absolutely. We keep pushing forward. And one of the elders said, hey, what if we ask him if he wants to do online stuff? And all of a sudden we had a youth and online minister, and his focus shifted from children's to online in junior high and high school. And so that was super exciting that we just kept pushing forward. Also, they kept their eyes on, we're going to start to work on our core values this next month. And so church family, you could pray for that. It's already there. It's the things of who we already are and the things we're passionate about, but we've never said, here are the things we're passionate about. So we're going to do that this next month. And that's going to help us do our 3-year strategy. And we've not stopped. The leadership, the elders, the deacons, the ministry team leaders, the staff, just like Trina said, we just keep pushing forward. And that's a super blessing to be in a church like this. And to have Logan and to have Hannah come on really in the same year, because Hannah was right at the beginning and then Logan. So yeah, it's just been an awesome time. Logan, it's been different because you're starting in youth ministry during a year that no one else is going to be able to relate to what you're doing except for other youth ministers that started in 2020. So what are you most excited about in the church going into 2021? Like stuff that you're excited, stuff you're planning, goals you have.
I'm excited to actually have a summer. We'll hopefully have a summer that is back to normal. The growth in the youth has still happened. We've had more kids start coming and everything like that. So I've been thankful for that. I'm just excited for just to see these kids, what they're going to take with them into 2021. They're already doing stuff that is shocking me as we did like United by Spaghetti, and students want to help out with that. We just hand out cookies. Students want to help out with that. They just want to like disciple for God. And I'm just excited to see when we go on like more trips and stuff as 2021, what we have planned, what they're going to bring. I'm just thankful because I know they're really going to step it up even more. So
Awesome. Okay, so this is the last question, and then we have something special for our church family at the end. Hannah's going to lead us in something special. But before we get there, if you could encourage the church as a whole, from your perspective, Hannah with worship ministry, Logan with youth and online, Trina with being kind of, the rock of our staff, been here for 15 years. What is it you would encourage, or what's the thing you would say to our church family ending 2020, making it through 2020, but looking forward to 2021? What's the thing you'd say to encourage the church family? So I want to start with Hannah first.
I would say keeping innovative. I think that's one thing this church has been amazing at this year, is learning to be flexible. We've always had a goal of doing missions, and a lot of our outreach programs are to places outside of Colfax that we minister to and help do missions. But I think throughout this year, we've really just had time to reflect and say, what does our community need? And what are ways that we can reach out to our neighbors and our family members, even people within the church? And I think that's something I want to encourage them to keep doing, is to find ways to reach out to people we already know and people that are right under our noses, really, that could be desiring the need for Christ and that relationship. And like I said, we've done, I think, a great job in stepping up and learning to recognize that through the different things we've done with our community. But just keep being innovative in the way that you reach out to people, people right next door to you that going need it sometimes more than we think of missions. Missions are really important, but when we go to heaven, we're going to have our neighbors that are going to be faced with the same choice on the day that Jesus comes back, if they get to join us or if they don't. So keep reaching out to them. They appreciate it a lot. I know I've really appreciated the help and reaching out that this church has done to me as well.
Sure. Now, specifically, I'm going to push a little more on you. Specifically in worship, what would you like to ask the congregation to do as we move on?
I really think in our little 8-week course that we did in going over Hebrew words for worship and what they meant, I think that really pushed us, and the church was very receptive to it, and that meant a lot to me because we put a lot of time and challenging stuff in there for us as a worship team. Don't be afraid to be bold in worship. I think that's something that becomes more traditional and laid back, and but don't be afraid to get on your knees or to lift your hands. We're not getting to heaven by the way that our peers in the congregation or within our church view us. Church is for us to be one-on-one with God in that sacred time. So just continue to be bold in the way that you worship. Don't be afraid or embarrassed, because like I said, that's between you and God and not you and your church family or friends. So
Awesome. I'll go next, and then Logan, I'm going to have you go, and then Trina, we're going to have you finish that question. Okay. So I would say that my big thing is to keep equipping. We have awesome ministry team leaders, but we're always one generation away from not being as effective. And so our ministry team leaders, keep equipping, keep getting co-leaders, keep getting people involved in the ministry teams, more so than ever in 2021, as we need to be more intentional than ever and do more than what we've done in the past to help bring people into the family of God. And so equip. And I know that's hard, because sometimes it's easier for us to just do it ourselves because we know what needs to be done and get it done. But man, maybe the most important thing you could do is equip 3 or 4 other people to do what you can do. And it starts to multiply in that way. So be on a ministry team. If you're not on a ministry team, be in a life group, oh, these are some of the ways we get involved in the church. This is some of the ways we start to be equipped. So it's a two-way thing. Ministry team leaders, we need to equip, and everyone else in our church family to get involved. That's what Christ wants when we're part of the body of Christ, to serve, to be the hands and feet, just like Jesus did. And he got down on his knees and took our feet in his hands and started to serve us. And to have that attitude more than ever going into 2021, I think will be huge. Okay, Logan, in regards to youth.
All right, in regard to youth, I'm going to say still be uncomfortable. I've always been hitting this with my students that we need to be uncomfortable in our faith and not just sit down and just do what we keep doing every single year. I've had them do Kingdom Worker cards that were these cards that actually stretched them to do stuff. I had made students do stuff they told me they didn't like to do. I said, well, you're going to do it anyways. And just doing it now in 2020, when it's a hard year to do, it's just going to transfer into 2021, and just seeing them just be uncomfortable for God and doing stuff that their peers aren't doing, that no one else is doing, and this generation's doing it. As they get older and older, it's going to be easier and easier. So I just keep on pushing that they keep on doing that.
Awesome. All right, and I'm going to come to Trina, but first, Trina, 15 years. I mean, you've been here longer than, I think if you add, like 3 pastors together. Yeah. You've been here longer. And so you've seen the church do some amazing things over the years. You've seen the church go through some hard times over the year. We've had a super hard year in 2020. We're going into 2021. What would you want to say to our church family to encourage them?
Keep trusting and relying on God. Be faithful. You'd want to encourage individuals to join a missions or a ministry team, get involved some way, to learn to serve. Just we're here to serve others, not for them to serve us. And I think that's the most enjoyable. Once you get involved, you just want to stay involved for the love of Christ and just spread it. I mean, it's just 2021. I'm hoping and praying that we go into it with wide open arms and lots of love, because there's so many people out there are lost that needs church family. They need to be invited to church and get involved into a church. And we can do that by just coming to church and make lots of friends, a lot of fellowship, and a lot of love here at Colfax Christian Church.
Awesome. Yeah, I was sharing with Trina earlier that we have close to 167 different members in this church. And it's awesome to think about in the high 40% of our church comes from outside of Colfax. So it's not just Colfax now. I mean, we're reaching into, I think, somewhere around 14 different communities. And I'm excited for that. But man, what an impact in Clinton County we could have. And we're right on the edge of 3 different counties. And so just an awesome opportunity. So we just need to have God-sized dreams, God-sized goals as we go into this year. So hopefully, if you're listening to this, you start to think that way, and the ministry teams are going to think that way, and our small groups are going to think that way, and our leadership teams that's doing core values and 3-year strategy are going to think that way. And so we're excited, but mainly we want to say Merry Christmas. We want to say Happy New Year, and Hannah, take it away.
All right. We wish you a Merry Christmas, Miss. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
See you guys later.
Bye.
Great end of the year.
Bye.